This is the Ashley and Gabby 10 Commandments Show! Ding!
Everyone!
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Gabby.
And this is
the Ashley and Gabby 10 Commandments Show! Today, we will be talking about commandment number 5. Which is, if you would kindly take out your Life in Christ Foundations of a Catholic Morality and turn to page number
208.
The fifth commandment. You shall not kill. The fifth commandment teaches respect for human life and condemns as gratefully sinful any direct, intentional killing. It also forbids any indirect act or failure to act that brings about a person's death.
Murder results from original sin and arises out of anger and envy. Murder destroys human dignity and violates God's holiness. Hate contradicts Christ's law of love. So today we're going to be showing you examples and also telling you about the parts of the fifth commandment that are acceptable and parts that are unacceptable. And hopefully by the end of this, you will know everything there is to know about the fifth commandment. So stay tuned!
So an obvious part of the fifth commandment is that you shall not kill anyone. But in order to show you the more in-depth analysis of this commandment, we're not going to get into great detail of you shall not kill. But we are going to show you an example, and in this example, a girl named Teresa, she's a little weird, is sitting on her phone, and a girl bully named Alexandra comes up and takes her phone from her. Now Teresa gets super angry and decides to throw these at her, oranges. She ends up hitting her in the temple and killing her with her great speed and strength, and that's against the law. Do not kill people.
Don't take my phone! Seeing this example, you can see that Teresa did not have to kill Alexandra. Yes, Alexandra was a bully and took her phone and should not have done that, but Teresa let her anger get the best of her and decided to kill Alexandra. She had no right to, and this was very unjust.
Let's talk about war theology. Let's talk between you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about war.
So Ashley,
Yes, Gabby.
on this fine evening, let's talk about war.
What about war?
Well, you see, the Catholic Church is against war. They believe that you should try to settle disputes peacefully before resulting to violence.
Wowzers.
Except they believe that the government has a responsibility to protect its people if you cannot settle a dispute peacefully.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We're going to have Ashley read from page 209 in the Catechism.
All right. How much, Gabby, do I read?
The last sentence, please.
Okay. It is possible for Catholics to fight in a just war if all the following conditions are met.
War must be a last resort. As I said before, you should have tried to solve the problem peacefully. Chances of the war being successful must have been calculated before you go and bomb someone, for example. The rights and values of the conflict must be so important that they justify the lives lost. War cannot be waged for the noblest of reasons and with the commitment of post-war reconciliation with the enemy. No war can have total destruction and leave the citizens in distress. They cannot torture them, etc., etc. Another thing that the Catholic Church is very against is torture. They believe that if you torture someone, there is no justifiable means. So basically by saying this, they're saying every person has their own dignity and has their own human qualities, and by torturing them, you take it away from them, and the Catholic Church does not forgive against that.
Now, Gabby, I have a question for you that's not actually regarding torture.
Really?
What is the Catholic view on terrorism?
Well, you see, the Catholic Church believes that terrorism is, again, an unjustifiable action. Terrorists take innocent people's lives, which is never right.
Correct.
So, if it involves the threat to kill or an actual destruction of innocent lives or the indiscriminate destruction of property simply to spread all pervasive fear, terrorist acts can never be justified. And that is said in the Catechism 2297.
Thank you very much, Gabby, for clearing that up for me. Is there any other part of war that maybe the Catholic Church touches on?
Well, they believe that you cannot use like nuclear weapons. Just if you have to go to war, if the conflict results in war, just try to do it as peacefully as you can.
That's a fantastic answer.
Thank you for
It's a good
talking
breakfast.
with me.
It's good breakfast.
So today on our show, we're going to be telling you examples that would break the fifth commandment or be acceptable to the fifth commandment.
And right now we're going to show you the exceptions to the fifth commandment. So if you would look at your book on page 208, right under the introduction, we're going to read some passages from special examples of killing. There is a sentence about a quarter of the way down that says, killing in self-defense is justifiable because one's intention is to save one's own life against an unjust aggressor. This means that if someone breaks into your home or is physically harming you or your life is in danger, it is okay to fight back and possibly kill them if that means your life is going to be saved. However, there is something called capital punishment, and capital punishment is basically to avoid all means of killing if at all possible. So if you don't have to kill the person that is attacking you, then that is the best situation, but sometimes there are situations where you have to kill the person.
So one of the examples we're going to be showing you is when a burglar breaks into someone's house and the burglar is armed, and to save his family, the dad has to kill the burglar.
Correct. So we are going to show you that example
Right
now.
Record on. Stop! Who are you?
You don't need to know.
I have a gun.
I got a spoon.
So, after seeing this example, Mr. Hardin Smith had to kill the burglar.
He had no other option because he had to save his family, and the only way to do it was to kill the burglar. And as Jesus says in the Bible,
You can kill one to spare many. Interactive activity!
okay, so this next activity is going to be based on the information you just learned about self-defense. We are going to give you 2 examples, and it's your job to determine if it's just or unjust.
So if one day you're walking home really late from your friend's house and you notice that someone is following you and you try to ignore it, but all of a sudden they come up to you and they're armed, and you have to kill them out of self-defense.
Is it just or unjust?
If it's just, raise your hands. If it's unjust, raise your hands.
So the correct answer to this example would be that it is a just situation. You were in a place of danger, they could have killed you, therefore you have the right and the opportunity to save your life and kill them. So our next example is going to be about a home break-in. Let's say someone breaks into your home, but they are not armed or dangerous. All they want is your TV and your computer, but you think that they are going to kill you. You take a gun and you shoot and kill them. Is it just or unjust? If it's just, raise your hand.
If it's unjust, raise your hand. So the correct answer here is it is unjust because 1, they weren't armed, so they really couldn't have hurt you, and you didn't have to kill them, so yeah.
Thank you for participating.
Another violation against the 5th commandment is abortion. If you'll please turn to page 212 with us and just follow along. Every human is made in God's image. Every human life is sacred. So by killing an innocent child who cannot even defend themselves is a form of thou shalt not kill. Abortion is very bad. It's deliberately killing a human life by the means of a medical process. It is wicked. It is unjust. The church is against it 100%. Once you get pregnant, you are morally permitted to take care of that human inside of you. You have to, you can't drink, you can't smoke. You have to be a good pregnant person, basically. Yeah. Abortion. So, Ashley, would you like to read them? What can you do about abortion?
Of course I would. Please turn to page 213 in your book. Here, you can take her now.
Okay.
Don't kill her.
Here's our baby.
Do you want to kill that? Gabby does. Alright. Abortion is a great issue that is prevalent in today's society. But there are ways that we can prevent it. And if you would look at all these bullet points, I'm just going to read the very first sentence and I'm going to explain it. So the first one is to respect all life. That means that we need to take care of ourselves, we need to take care of other people, animals, this thing. We just gotta take care of everyone around us and respect every single person in our life. That also means the environment. It also says to not judge others. That's the second bullet point. If we judge others, then we're not treating anyone as our brother or sister. Like if I say Gabby's hair looks terrible right now, I'm judging her. She might think it looks great. But obviously I'm not being a sister because I'm judging. And that pertains to the unborn because we can't say that they aren't human, we can't say that they don't have every aspect of a human. We're judging them. And therefore,
Next it says we need to pray. Prayer gets us through a lot of things, and it can help us. There you go. It can help us to get through all of life's hardships. We can ask God for courage. We can ask God for the strength to help stop the abortion movement, and it can really help, especially if we pray for those who are undergoing abortions, that they might see the light or see clearly, maybe not do it. If anything helps, really. The fourth bullet point is to get involved. We need to start participating in pro-life rallies, praying in front of Planned Parenthood places. We just need to do every step that we can in order to stop the abortion movement. And this means that we must become invested in the cause and try to stop it. And then the final bullet point, it says to be informed. We need to know about every argument, which, as you can see, it's all right here. We need to know about every argument, every statistical part of abortion. We just basically need to inform ourselves about what's actually happening, and that can help us to become more educated in stopping abortion.
Yeah. Because interactive activity! Hello everyone! So right now we're going to do a interactive activity about abortion. Ashley here is going to be asking you some questions and you have to pick the right answer.
Okay, so this first question is going to be about how many abortions are performed in the United States every day. A, 3,200. B, 2,700. C, 6,400. Or D, 1,200.
And the correct answer is A, 3,200. And question number 2.
This next question is about how much money does Planned Parenthood make every year off of abortions. So our options are $2 billion, $5 for A. B is 400,000. C is $1 billion. Or D, 27 million.
And the correct answer is C, $1 billion.
Thank you for participating in this interactive activity.
Another segment we have here in the Ashley and Gabby 10 Commandments show is 60 seconds of violations of thou shalt not kill. Yeah.
All right, Gabby, you have 60 seconds to explain to me a violation of the fifth commandment. Are you ready?
I am very ready. I was
Set.
born for this.
Go.
Okay, so one of the other major violations of thou shalt not kill is scandal. Scandal includes serious violence, rape, kidnapping, hostages, torture, terrorist acts, body mutilations, amputations, and medical procedures that are not needed or not using sterilized medical objects. You know what I'm saying. Another thing against the fifth commandment is assisted suicide. You cannot help someone kill themselves, as even if they're in pain, it's just wrong. For example, if a lady has cancer and she doesn't want to stick it out and she plans her death and you help, you are killing a person even though you think they're helping. The last thing we're going to talk about in 7 seconds is euthanasia. It's wrong despite one's good intentions. For example, of relieving pain of the seriously ill.
That was about 1.3 or 1 minute 3 seconds. But it's all right. Good job, Gabby. The more you know, the more you know.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so now if you would turn to page 216 and look at the very bottom of the page, there's a section called Respecting Personal Health. Now, this goes along more with the sixth commandment, but it also goes hand in hand with the fifth commandment. The fifth commandment requires that we take care of ourselves, and there's a word called prudence, which is one of God's virtues to us individuals, and we must practice prudence.
Basically, the virtue of prudence is to take care of our health, which is one of God's precious gifts that He gave us as human beings.
Correct, Gabby. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, there's a limit to prudence, which I think a lot of people these days don't really exercise. We must know that we need to be healthy individuals, take care of ourselves, but there is a fine line between taking care of yourself and going overboard. If you would look at the very first sentence of the second paragraph, it says, although we must respect and care for our bodies, we should not make our bodies God. Make bodies our God. This means that even though we do need to take care of ourselves, we shouldn't completely focus on being the perfect person, because no one can be the perfect person. Also, if we try to make ourselves perfection, then we're practically making ourselves like a godly image, and that is never a good thing because you bump God out of your life in place of you. It also says that these are all grave offenses. Ready for this, Gabby?
Yes, Ashley.
We should not have unhealthy eating patterns. We should not consume alcohol, abuse it anyway, tobacco, or the use of medication for self-gratification. And illegal drugs is never a good thing. So if you do any of these things, they're all grave offenses, and
you're violating the fifth commandment.
Yeah. Along with prudence, we also must exercise temperance. And what is temperance, Gabby?
Temperance, the virtue of temperance, is to preserve the precious life God has given us. Temperance regulates our attraction to pleasure and helps us use God's creative gifts that He gave us in balanced, good, healthy ways.
So, in order to have temperance, we need to have self-control, moderation, gratification. That means you can drink, you can smoke if you're legal, but it all has to be in good moderation, enough to where it's not overtaking your life and you still have time for God and God is still your main priority. So St. Thomas Aquinas distinguished 3 parts to follow the virtue of temperance. Gabby, could you please tell me what those 3 parts are?
Yes, the first one, abstinence. It tempers our desires for food and sexual pleasures. Sobriety moderates our desires for alcoholic drinks. And chastity helps us control our sex drive.
Okay, so if we practice all 3 of these things that Thomas Aquinas has said we should, then it will really help us in our lives to practice temperance. And with temperance, if you look at the last paragraph on page 217, it says that temperance frees us to become fully functioning persons. This means that practicing temperance will help us to not let things overrun our lives and still let God be a priority in our lives.
We're not going to let pleasure become our God. You're not going to neglect those who need you. By controlling our desires, we gain self-mastery and grow in gentleness, compassion, and courtesy.
You pulled that out of your brain, didn't you?
I did.
That was great, Gabby.
Thank you, everyone.
That's just the perfect wording of that. It's not in the book anyway. So, thank you for listening to us. I don't know what this. Ding!
So hopefully you learned today that there are more things involved in the 5th commandment than just killing people.
Now you're enlightened that abortion, euthanasia, war, assisted suicide, taking care of yourself falls under the 5th commandment.
You might also have learned and not have known that you can kill someone and it might be morally acceptable if in proper circumstance.
We would like to thank Mr. Siegel for giving us this project to enlighten.
Jesus is my main, and I follow his ways. I do what he says. I do what he says.
As the 5th commandment states, you shall not kill. And that's how it should stay. That's how it should stay.
But I keep praying, can't stop, won't stop praising, and everything he's saying is in my mind. The Lord, he is my life. Violators gonna pay, and disciples gonna partay, Baby, I'm just gonna try my best today to follow the law. The 10 commandments say how to live every day. Baby, I'm just gonna try my best today to follow the law.
Abortion is a sin. It's morally unjust. People do it anyways. People do it anyways.
Assisted suicide. It's really bad. They're killing confused lives. They're killing confused lives.
But the Lord forgives those if they say they're sorry. He has endless glory for everyone that chooses to follow him.
Violators gonna pay, and disciples gonna partay, Baby, I'm just gonna try my best today to follow the law. The commandments say how to live every day. Baby, I'm just gonna try my best today to follow the law. I follow the law. I follow the law. I follow the law. I follow the law.
Hey. Just think, while you have been doing the wrong things and breaking the 10 commandments, we've been getting down and making this sick beat.
God gave Moses the 10 commandments. He said, Lord my God, what do I do with this? And the Lord said, son, go and preach my laws, and you will be rewarded with the kingdom of God.
Yeah, alright.
My leader's gonna pay, and the disciples gonna partay, Baby, I'm just gonna try my best today to follow the law. The 10 commandments say how to live every day. Baby, I'm just gonna try my best today to follow the law.